As a manager, have you ever thought, I cannot do this anymore. I can't possibly do this. I need to take a step back? Well, most people watching this, if not all, will likely say the same. Because in any role, there can be times that you feel so overwhelmed, especially as a people manager, because you may have work that you have to do, like things you have to get done, and it may feel really daunting to have people things on top of it, whatever that looks like, from performance conversations to time off to just even general gripes. But in this quick video, I want to talk through that to let you know it's incredibly normal and some of the things to think about when those thoughts creep in your mind. One is that it really is normal to doubt what you're doing and whether you feel capable. If you're a brand new manager, like maybe you're getting ready to become a manager and you're getting ready to announce it on LinkedIn or announce it to the team, and you think to yourself, I'm excited about this, but how am I actually going to do the job? I have videos on things to know as a new manager, but just know whenever you're going into a new role, you may feel like you need to have it all figured out. But that's a lot of the reasons that we have as manager method, manager training, and robust resources, and why I create these videos and tips each week, so that you know that those type of questions are super common, especially as you're taking on a role for the first time. But also, whether you're a director, a VP, a senior executive, you may at times think to yourself, I am so jealous of people that just have a routine that they do, and they do it day in and day out. Now, a lot of those people may think, I'd love to swap places with you and have your pay and your level and your respect and all of those things. And it can be super easy to have that grass is greener. And there can absolutely be times, especially if you're working on a lot of things at once or a lot of things that you can't control, to think, I would love to have a job where all I do is a repeatable thing that I can absolutely, to the most part, control. But so a huge part of that is just knowing that it's completely normal. But those feelings come and those feelings can also go. And a way that you and your mind can recognize that those feelings happen, and it's important to sit with it and think, okay, why is that happening? Is it that things that are out of my control? Is it that things right now I'm just dealing with a lot at once? What are the things that are going on? Sometimes it's helpful to really break that apart and think about where that question is coming from. But also it can be helpful to think to yourself, and what are all the versions of yourself? If you think of an onion being the layers of the onion, all of the different skills that you've learned along your career. And so thinking back to something that felt super challenging at that time, maybe it was a while ago, maybe it wasn't that long ago, but thinking about something that felt super daunting, and now you can do it easily. So remembering that as you learn skills, people management, including working with people and addressing the unexpected and dealing with people who are very different from you. That's a skill as well. And so reframing in your mind of, yeah, this is a skill, but I've learned other skills in the past and I can absolutely do this. One of the things personally that I think back to is when I was first a lawyer, because before I started Manager Method, I first worked in corporate sales, and then I went to law school, and I was a lawyer in the law firm environment, and then in-house, working directly for organizations before I took on an HR path. And so I'd been both a legal and HR leader. But when I was first a lawyer, I was a junior associate, and I worked in employment law. And I was working on a case about accommodations and in the U.S., the Americans with Disabilities Act. And this was a pest control company, so it was a lawsuit. So part of what I was asked to do was a witness interview. What that meant was to go to a pest control company's location and go on a truck and just see the different aspects of the truck and look through it and talk to the employees who were there, the manager that was there, to walk through that, for example. Now, I was talking to the partner on this, and again, I was brand new. And as I talked to the partner, he explained what I needed to do, and I was going to drive out there the next morning. And I sat and, took notes and had my notes and went. And after that partner left, I'd taken the notes, but I started thinking about it. And I just started to get this feeling in my stomach of nerves. And I was lucky because that partner actually came back to my office and he poked his head in and said, now, are you feeling all right about this? I meant to check in. And I looked and I said, I am now. Did I give it away with my face? And he said, I just remembered to myself what it's like to be a junior associate, and sometimes these things can feel challenging. My advice to you is remember, you're going and you're talking to a human. Don't wear that, because I was wearing a suit. Don't wear that. Just wear jeans. Be casual. And just remember, you're there to get information, and he's probably nervous because he's meeting with a lawyer, and so he's probably really worried about that. So when you show up and look like a normal person and act like a normal person, which, it's not always an easy thing to do, but act like that, it can totally disarm them and make it a normal conversation. And I felt much better about it. And that didn't go away. I still was super nervous driving and going to, I showed up, and very quickly we did have a totally normal conversation. And you could tell that he was nervous to me meeting with a lawyer, but we had the conversation and we went through it. And that really put me at ease. And I appreciated that guidance of literally wear jeans, but also think of it like a conversation. But that didn't take the nerves away. And after that, other times I'd have witness interviews. And each time I'd get nervous, less than I'd been the previous time, but I felt nervous. If now you were to tell me I was going to go have a witness interview, I don't practice law anymore, but I probably wouldn't give it much of a second thought because I did it so much. But it's important for me now in the things that I do to think back to that time of something that felt so challenging, like I could never do this. And if I hadn't had that conversation with the partner, I probably would have lost more sleep about it. But just remembering those skills and the things that you've learned. And this really is, as a people manager, is learning those skills. And you're watching this video, so that shows that you're investing in it. And so remembering to break it down and think about that. And also know there may be times and seasons of life that you can't take that on. Like you can't be a manager anymore. And that doesn't mean that it's forever. And so in an organization, whether it's working with your own leaders to talk about what you can do, what you can't do, another question can be to ask other leaders, whether that's your own boss, your own manager, whether that's other managers, but to ask those questions of, what do you do if it ever feels like it's too much and you can't do this? Because that kind of validation, people will often say like, oh, I absolutely feel that. And I bet your own manager has felt like that as well. And so asking that, not in a way of just, I can't do this anymore, but if you ever feel like this is too much, I don't know how to handle it all, what do you do? Because I give my tips, and in my tips, having worked with thousands and thousands of managers, but it's entirely possible your boss is going to give you a tip that absolutely sticks with you, or other managers or other team members. Just having sessions where you talk about what do you do when you feel like you can't do something? How do you build yourself up, or how do you get that feedback? That's why in our Manager 101 and Manager 201 and Employee Success, our programs, in addition to just having courses, we have everything that organizations need to run cohorts. Because oftentimes getting people together to talk about the realities of what a role can be like, whether you're a new manager, an experienced leader, if you're not a manager, you're an individual contributor, any of that, it can feel overwhelming. And so being human at work and being able to ask for support and tips and know, whether it's talking with yourself or thinking to yourself of, okay, I can do this. What's something or what are things that I've learned to do, and how can I think of what I'm doing now as skills that I can learn to do and build on and try? That, or talking to others and having those opportunities. But just knowing, if you, or I should probably say, when you feel like you can't do it all, just know you may not be able to do it all in the moment. But thinking about what you can do and remembering that you're human, you've learned so much to date, and you will continue to do so no matter your role. And sometimes talking it out with others, whether they're in your position or completely other departments and roles, that can be so helpful to get that validation and remembering everybody feels this way, and even get some tips that can really help you learn what to practically do next.